You know what? I hate to say I told you so, but I absolutely did. Breaking news, Apple will be forced to allow third-party app stores and sideloading into iPhone iOS ecosystem. Guys, I've been talking a long time about how the EU should not be able to force a private company, Apple, to implement USB-C onto their devices. And I made a warning. I said, don't think that if they're allowed to get away with this, they will not continue. They will not continue to put restrictions and regulations onto Apple to shape them into what they think the perfect iPhone should be. And here we are, not even a year removed, as Apple announced they would be putting USB-C on iPhones by 2024. And it may even come sooner in 2023 with the iPhone 15. Not even a year later, here we are, the EU, because of regulations there, will be forcing iPhones to allow third-party app stores. And on the surface, people are celebrating. They're saying, oh yeah, Fortnite is coming back. This, that, and the other thing is coming back. I honestly think it would be a better move for Apple if they would kind of let, more applications, more softwares be able to run on the iPhone. But that's not the point, and people are missing the principle. I don't understand how people don't take a second to look deeper into the situation. It's exactly as I predicted. Eventually, Apple will be a collaboration between the private company in Cupertino and the government, whether it's the EU or the United States government, you name it. Apple is a private company, so my belief is that they should be able to do, as long as they're not hurting anybody or breaking any laws, they should be able to make whatever they want. If they want to make a closed system phone and that's an experience, let them do that. It's not their fault that the iPhone blew up, right? And that everybody wants the iPhone. People like that. And so who is the EU to then go and tell Apple how to do their thing? There wouldn't even be a smartphone market without Apple. But now all of a sudden, the EU, the European Union, knows how a smart device should be used, how tablets and phones should have in terms of what they should have in terms of ports, what they should be able to access in terms of software. Guys, this is not the end either. Less than a year, we have 2 restrictions now forcing Apple to do something. Now, the report is that Apple will slowly be rolling this out across all iPhones, but they're not going to start there. It's actually only going to be available in countries and in regions where the law forces it to be. Anywhere else, which right now I believe includes the United States, we will still have the walled garden that we know as iOS. But here's the thing, we already have that. Android is already that. Why do they have to? We have choice, right? We can go with the walled garden, which is Apple, which you have all these nice things, but you're never allowed to leave. And then you have Android, which is the complete opposite. You can shape Android into whatever you want. So why do they want to force Apple to do what Android is doing? Why do they want to force Apple to fall in line with everybody else? And I think what this proves is that Apple's resistance to these changes, to these policies, can be overcome. Why? Because they can impose, as a government, they can impose penalties and things, even ultimately restricting the sale of iPhone. I don't think it'll ever get that bad, but who knows nowadays? Restricting Apple, no, I actually don't think it'll get that bad because I don't think Apple has that much of a backbone. They're gonna cave. As they did with USB-C, as they are now with the App Store. Steve Jobs would be rolling over in his grave, rest in peace, to know that somebody was going to tamper with the vision that he had for how the iPhone should run. He didn't even want Apple internally to increase the screen size from 3.4 inches, which was the original iPhone screen size back in 2007, to any bigger version. And it was only after he passed away that those things happened. But now you can also see that there's nobody with a backbone in that company right now, and they're caving to whatever the EU's demands are. And again, if the EU can do it, then America can do it. If America can do it, then other countries can do it. And before you know it, I don't even know, like Apple will lose their identity as even who they are. They're supposed to be different, right? Their slogan for the longest time was think different, right? But if the law requires you to do things that are not different, and again, guys, you can support this law, you can hate this law, but it's not hurting anyone, right? You could say, oh, well, it hurts me. No, it's not. You could just pick a different phone. Oh, well, I can't pick a different phone because everybody's on iPhone. Well, why is that? Is there a law that says you have to buy an iPhone? Is somebody dragging you, kicking and screaming into the Apple store to purchase an iPhone? No. People are picking the iPhone. They're choosing the iPhone because of the reputation of the brand, because of their reliable products and services that they offer to their customers. And of course, they're not a perfect company. No company is. But obviously, Apple was doing something right. That's why they're the most valuable company on the planet. Trillions of dollars in worth. They must be doing something right. Yet here we have a government trying to, Apple's richer than most countries. And here we have the EU trying to tell them how to innovate, what kind of standards their phones are going to have. It's a sad thing. And here's the thing. A lot of people, I can guarantee, and I challenge anybody who disagrees who will comment down below. Instead of just saying you are in favor of the decision, why don't you tell me why you don't think it will continue? Why you think it will end here? Why you think the regulations and the restrictions on Apple's private devices, their company makes a private phone, why you think the governments will say, okay, that's enough. We have enough power. We've forced Apple to do what we want. Enough. We can stop here. It's not going to stop here. And what I'll do is I'll project out. So everybody knows the famous, governments have always been trying to get in iPhones for many, many years now. And they're able to do it, but it takes a very, very long time to the point where they would actually go to Apple and ask them to unlock these devices. And Apple, for the longest time, they had refused to do it. Okay, protecting their customers and that kind of thing, because what they were asking them to do would fundamentally, nobody would trust Apple anymore. It would be a bad look for their company. And number two, eventually they took it out of their own hands, even with this new iCloud feature, which will encrypt your data, even if there's an iCloud breach, like of the actual server. So the days of iCloud hacks could be ending. But that's the thing. That's what's coming next. Who's to say that in the future there won't be a law that Apple has to put something in, a backdoor entrance into all their private devices that they make, to allow them to access, or any government with a permit to access anybody's information ever. And it's like, okay, well, what do you have to hide? I don't have anything to hide. And most people don't. But it's not about what the situation is now. It's about the principle. Just like with USB-C. It's not about USB-C being better than Lightning, which it is. It's about the principle. It's not about, the fact that we want Fortnite on iPhone or third-party apps. It's about the principle. And I think people who take a second to not just react and be angry and actually think about what I'm saying, you'll already see that I'm right. And again, not even a year removed from the USB-C regulation, we are seeing third-party apps and sideloading and all those things being implemented in this way. It's horrible to see, and nothing will happen unless people stand up and support Apple. Just back them and say, yo, we don't stand for this either. Because Apple is a big company, they're a powerful company, but they can only do so much. But when a company like Apple and the people are together, that's when we're actually able to make a stand. If you enjoyed this video, if you agree with my sentiment, like the video. If you disagree, like the video. Leave me a comment down below. Disliking doesn't really do anything because you can't see it anyway. Let me know what you think. I'd love to chat it up with you guys as always. Like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. I'm Chris Grant Jr. It's the Granny Geek Show.